OPS is over 1,000?
Yeah, because every base hit he has essentially in this month is an extra base. So, I mean, it really is incredible. I think it's 11 of his last 13 hits have gone for extra bases. So, yeah, that's going to lead to a very high OPS.
That's amazing. And it's steadily gone up starting in June when it really locked in. What a time right now. So many questions here. Let me start with this big picture question, which is, what does the playoff picture look like right now for the Brewers? And what is the push needed to land on what preferred space over the next week and a half?
All right, so playoff picture is pretty simple. Clinch the division, magic number is 1. So a win today, or even the Cubs lost, and they play this afternoon, and the Brewers are popping champagne as early as today. So they would be the first team that could potentially clinch the division in Major League Baseball. Pretty amazing to begin with. In terms of your second question of what they're pushing for, kind of not locked in, but they have that number 3 spot no matter what happens. So now you're trying to chase down the Dodgers and the Phillies. The Phillies and Dodgers both won the season series against the Brewers after last night's win by Philadelphia. So they do not hold tiebreakers. If either team ends up being tied with the Brewers, then both the Dodgers and Phillies would finish ahead of the Brewers. So they need to outright pass the Phillies and Dodgers for one of those top 2 spots in order to get it.
Okay. All right, slow down. So just so I understand, it's me, it's not you. You say they're locked into the 3 spot, or
no
not?
matter what. No matter what. The worst they could be is the 3 spot.
So that's not locked in, though. You're saying if they catch the Dodgers or the Phillies, they could be in the 1 or the 2, in theory.
Correct. Yes, they could.
Okay.
And by locked in, it's a no matter
worse.
what.
They're no worse then. No worse than the 3 seed. Okay. What benefits accrue to being the 1 or the 2 seed in terms of matchups, the bracket, the home field advantage, etc.?
Yeah, you get a week off if you're in that 1 or 2 seed. Your first game would not be until October 5th, which is a Saturday. The season ends the Sunday prior. So you don't have to play, and you kind of have to wait and see who your opponent is going to be. So the number 1 seed is going to take the lowest seed no matter what. And then the number 2 seed would play whoever's after that. So if it goes by chalk, if the Brewers were in the number 3 seed, let's give or take, and right now it would be the Dodgers that would be in the number 1 seed. If the Brewers win that first series, they would end up playing the Philadelphia Phillies, and then the Phillies have the number 1 spot. So the Brewers would play the Dodgers out of the number 2 spot as the number 3 seed. And then whoever wins the 4-5 game, which right now would be the Diamondbacks and the Padres, they would go on and play the Phillies.
Phillies are 4 games up right now with how many to play?
11 games to go. Yeah, 4 games
daunting.
up on the Brewers for them.
Yeah, daunting. And then the Dodgers are 2 games up. So that's more doable.
Very much so. But it's really
schedule-wise.
It's really 3 games though, because you got to beat them out. Right? You can't tie
because the tiebreak.
Yeah,
okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So as much as we're talking through all this stuff, I have one main question really for you, Jeff. Have you ever done a broadcast drunk, and will you if the Cubs lose?
No. The answer is no, I haven't, and no, I wouldn't. Would I have a slight sip? Yes, sure. I've done that. That's fine. I would have a sip. I would have to celebrate.
How do the Brewers celebrate if the Cubs do lose? How does today look if they, again, Cubs lose? They know they've clinched it. They've won, but they still have to play a game. How does that look celebration-wise if the Brewers get this thing done and the Cubs lose?
Yeah, I think the Brewers are still going to play this thing as hard as possible. They're not going to go out there and have a lineup and then watch the Cubs lose if that's what ends up happening, and then totally switch their lineup up. I don't see that happening. Could you see it tomorrow for Thursday? Yes, I could see a totally different looking lineup tomorrow if they clinch this thing today. But I don't see them playing today's game any differently because, like you said, they're still chasing the Phillies. And the Phillies have a lot to play for, too. They could clinch on Sunday. They can clinch the division on Sunday. But they're still fighting for a playoff spot, and they're still fighting for that number 1 or number 2 seed. So they have a lot to play for too. And the integrity of the game is what Murph really cares about. He doesn't care about anything else. He cares about winning today's game. So I have a feeling no matter what happens on the north side of Chicago today, they're going to be playing this one straight up tonight.
All right. If the playoffs started today, the Brewers would catch the Diamondbacks again in the first round and be fed to the Dodgers. The Padres and Mets would meet and be fed to the Phillies. Do I got that right?
Flip that around. The Brewers would play the Mets. It's the 3 and the 6, and then the 4 and the 5. So right now the Mets. Right?
Okay.
Did the Diamondbacks lose yesterday, or did they win?
Well, I'm on betmgm.com with MLB playoff picture. Bracket of season ended today. And I guess September 18th is the stamp on this game. So they've got it that way, but it's very close. It could be either one. Who would you want, the Diamondbacks or the Mets?
Haven't seen the old Mets since the opening weekend. So they look very different as of right now. And they're playing really good baseball, and you're going to get to see them. You're right. It would be the Mets because they hold the tiebreaker over the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I want the Mets. I want the Mets.
So if you're playing the Mets, I mean, you get them for the last 3 games, and then they stick around. You got them for the next. You got to win a 2 out of 3 series against them. So you're basically playing a 6-game series potentially against the Mets in a row. So recency, you'd kind of maybe want the Mets. But you've seen the Arizona Diamondbacks too. There is something about Arizona that really scares me. Maybe it's last year. Maybe it's just Corbin Carroll and all their speed, and you're kind of looking in a mirror with the way that they win ball games because they play very similar style as the Brewers. But it's pick your poison with either one of those teams for sure.
All right. Can you explain just how the Brewers have had the number 1 run diff in MLB, and are you a believer in that metric of run differential?
I am a believer in the fact that it tells you it's a good litmus test of how your team is doing, and it goes to show they've got a really good pitching staff cobbled together, yes, but their pitching staff has been really good no matter who they've run out there over the course of the year. So that's what it tells me. It tells me that you hold leads. It tells me that your bullpen is really good. And it tells me that you have a number of different ways that you can score runs. Because the Brewers are in the middle of the pack and hitting homers. We talk about that a lot over the course of the season. But they find ways to score runs. And the run differential thing, and it's not because they blow out a bunch of teams, right? That was the Braves last year. The Braves were just pummeling people all season long, homers and just this dynamic offense and really good pitching. The Brewers just do it very, very methodically. They have a handful of blowout games, but not many. I mean, they play more close games than anybody in Major League Baseball. So I think it's a good indicator of your full complement of team and how you go out and you win ball games.
So, Jeff, you've talked a lot about team and how they go about it, but again, this is a question probably should be asked in 2 weeks, but I want it now. Who's going to be the postseason hero for the Brewers? Who's the name that you look at and say, that's the guy that's the hero in the postseason?
I mean,
because it's a tough question because they haven't done it. There hasn't been one guy all year long.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because if you ask me over the course of the season who's been that one guy, you could pick anybody any given day.
Correct.
And they've had a big game, right? So,
but that's not the way October in the postseason works, right?
No, it's not. It's not. But it is the collection. I think if anybody's gonna wear that star, it's gonna be like a Freddie Peralta. Because you're going to have a really good start at some point. Your bullpen's going to be really good. They're going to be relied upon. But you've got to have maybe a really good start in there. And I think Freddie Peralta is the guy that gets the ball in game number 1, whoever you play. And he's got to be the guy that sets the tone. In terms of offense, I think this thing runs through Jackson Churio. So for me, I think he's going to have a good first postseason in order for the Brewers to keep this train rolling.
All right, where do you stand Wednesday, Levering edition? Where do you stand on press box shaming? Apparently one of our own, Mike Keller, got press box shamed by Todd Rosiak for being, look who's here now.
I think that is slightly inappropriate. I'm all in on Heller. Anytime Heller's at the ballpark, you know something big is happening. So I'm fine.
It sounds like
He's a damn nice guy, and it's always
sure
great to see him. So I don't think that was not a good call from Todd. That's
okay,
karma coming back.
But it sounds like you're not averse to some light press box shaming for the.
I'm not opposed to giving anybody a hard time. So okay. I'm all in on that. Like Butchie's going to be at our big prep rally on Friday, serving brats from 6 to 9 in the morning. So yes. I have no problem. He's going to have a great time serving brats and eggs. I don't think he's going to do the eggs, but definitely.
Do you want me
brats.
to keep you want me to keep a brat open for you?
Wrap it up. You know what? I think I'm going to be okay. But thank you. I appreciate.
I mean, you want the egg? I can get the eggs for you.
No. I'll bring my own eggs. I'll bring my own eggs to the party. But thank you.
Butchie, right. Can you please give people an idea what's going on Friday? Or maybe you, Jeff, can fill them in. Let's do a proper promotion of this and not just obliquely reference it and people go, what's this?
Yeah, it's go ahead, Jeff. You go first. You go first.
Oh, well, I mean, you're going to be the big participant. So it's a big prep rally, right? The day the playoff tickets go on sale, which is Friday, 10 a.m. But if you go to the prep rally between 6 and 9 at the ballpark, you can meet such celebrities as your own Brian Butch or Pat Murphy or Robin Yount or Donald Driver. They'll be serving brats. They've got QR codes. You can scan that QR code. You can get in an hour ahead of the normal public to buy your playoff tickets. That's what it's all about. And plus, you get a car flag that you can hang out the window.
Oh, car flags. We were just talking about those.
Big time.
That's a big car flag show.
That's a nice giveaway right there. Okay, good. The prep rally on Friday to get your playoff tickets. Where do you stand, Levering edition? Second question. Where do you stand on buying divisional round tickets only, not the wild card? Meaning I'll go to the games, but only if they get out of the first round. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, no, I'm going to playoff games. Whenever there's a playoff game at home, I'm going. That's my thing. Because you never know what's going to happen.
You never know. This might be it, right? You got to go. Even though to me, the sting of losing in the first round, and if it's to the Diamondbacks, that's why I want the Mets. Not that I have any insight as to who's going to be better or who is better. Just I don't want to have to sit here for the rest of our lifetimes and go, I can't believe the Diamondbacks knocked us out back-to-back years in our building.
Yeah, that would not be good. So for me, I'm going to go to every single playoff game.
Okay,
just the way it is. I'm going to buy the whole book, and hopefully, I get to use all of those tickets. Otherwise, I'm getting funded.
Will the Brewers let you buy ahead if you want?
Me personally?
No. Can you literally buy ahead saying, hello, Brewers, I'd like to buy tickets to games 2 and 3 or whatever numbers of the.
It's not just a wild card round. You can buy playoff strips. Yeah. You can go all out if you'd like to.
Well, I don't want to get all of them, Butchie. I want to poach ahead.
I know what you're saying. You know what? Yeah, I get that.
Saying.
I understand. Hey, one question on the way out, Jeff. David Stearns, obviously with the Mets. Is that one of those that stings a little bit that people forget about? That's where he ended up.
Why? Because it's working out now.
Well, they're working out now. There was a struggle early.
It was a disaster to start the year.
It was, but he's pretty good at what he does too.
Yeah, no, I don't think that there's a lot of sting in there. I think everybody's happy for him. I think Matt Arnold's done a really good job, and the whole unit's been pretty cohesive in terms of the front office for the last 9 years. So no big deal, no love lost. I think it would be fun to beat him. I think if you're in the front office, you want to beat him for sure. But I don't think there's any ill will for David Stearns. No, it's not like he ended up in Chicago.
Bingo. Okay, that's where I was going. Yep. All
right, so let's say the Cubs win, which they probably should. The A's are terrible, not White Sox terrible. Oh, by the way, the White Sox say they're going to reduce their payroll levering for next year.
I don't know if that's possible, but
right. Imagine being a fan of this team that's going to roll up with 45 wins at the end of the year and go, and we're getting cheaper too.
Yeah, that's the meme of the dumpster that's on fire going down the road.
Yes, exactly. Let's assume that the Cubs win, and then the Brewers win tonight. Do you have a special call in the oven right now on low bake for tonight?
No, I haven't thought about it, to be honest with you. I kind of want to feel it out, and then once we get through the day, and that's kind of, we'll call it as it is. And hopefully Bob's on the call, and I don't have to worry about it because I'm on the radio today. So, well,
there you go. That would be wonderful.
Got TV, and hopefully Yuke's got the call on the radio tonight.
All right, very good. Can't wait. Thank you, Jeff.
You got it, guys. Talk to you next week.
Jeff Levering, one of your voices of your Milwaukee Brewers, who have authored a magical season that is coming to the most exciting and most heartbreaking part. It's bad karma to poach ahead on tickets. I don't dispute.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But
you would do
if you only have a certain budget for Brewer tickets, don't you want to buy the best games?
You would do that.
Yeah,
you would. You do it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Everybody would.
Aaron Nagler joins us next. All right, let's talk some Packers. Aaron Nagler from cheeseheadtv.com joins us now. Salute, good sir. Our Packer Insider segment is brought to you by Rogers Behavioral Health, Hildebrand Law, The Great Taste of Miller Lite, and Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Good morning, Mr. Nagler. How are you?
Good morning, Zabe. Good morning, Butch. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing excellent. It was, by all accounts, Matt LaFleur's finest hour. My question to you was, were you already a believer that that type of complete 360-degree coaching acumen was in the handsome, young Mr. LaFleur?
I got to be honest. No, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see such a dramatic shift. I think we've seen glimpses of that type of offense, right? And the idea that, yeah, we can run the football if we put our minds to it. But I certainly thought, given everything we've seen from LaFleur over the course of his tenure in Green Bay, he's pretty much been a I want to throw it around the yard kind of guy. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I want to throw the football. And I thought we were going to see some of that on Sunday, and we most certainly did not. He did exactly what was required to win that football game. And I got to say, I didn't think it would be as dramatic as it was as far as handing the ball to a workhorse back 32 times in the year of our Lord 2024 in the National Football League. That just doesn't traditionally happen. Because
they went out and got Josh Jacobs for stuff like
Butch.
Aaron Jones. You could never do that with.
No, Josh Jacobs is a perfect type of back for this, right?
That's why they did it.
Go back and watch Matt LaFleur call plays in Tennessee when he had Derrick Henry and not great quarterback play. He still didn't feed Henry. This is what I mean. Like, there was nothing in his history to suggest that this was the route he was going to take. And I'm very glad he did. And it was quite impressive the way, not just, they ran the ball. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the way they ran it. As far as the motions, the types of runs, they did everything from the outside zone to angle blocking to power, to traditional power, counter. And then all of the window dressing with all of the motion, keeping mostly like the edge guys just about, just questioning, okay, is he getting the ball? He's not getting the ball. Wait, he didn't get the ball. Now Josh Jacobs has the ball. And then that kind of split second of indecision, Jacobs is up the middle of the, between the tackles, and we're gaining positive yardage. There's so many ways that Matt and Stenovich and the entire offensive staff cobbled together just what was truly a very impressive game plan to take advantage of the Colts.
All right. Watch this, Nags. Butchie, Derrick Henry led the league in attempts last year, rushing 280.
Yeah.
You know what that comes out to on a 17-game schedule? 17 and change per game.
Yeah.
Jacobs ran it 30+. The point Nagler's making.
And I said they needed to run it 40 for them to win.
Right.
I did. I said that a week ago. I said 40+ rushes.
I love that Amy, one of our longtime Cheesehead TV viewers, makes a good point here on the chat on YouTube. No one saw that coming. That's why Aaron and Cheesehead TV had a run the fucking ball shirt made, because he never runs the ball.
But don't you think that that's a situation where like coaches evolve, they grow?
Absolutely.
Like, that's where Matt's at.
No question.
That's why it doesn't surprise me. Like,
well, here's the thing though. Butch, how many times have you seen coaches outthink themselves, overthink it, completely make it way more complicated?
There's no question, because if I was saying to run the ball 40 times, everybody knew they were doing it.
And that's the point. Like, all week we talked about what? Like, the Texans ran all over the Colts. Well, the Colts were very scared of C.J. Stroud. There's no way they're going to be scared of Malik Willis. There's no way they don't pack the box, make it impossible to run. The entire stadium knew the Packers were going to run the ball.
Okay,
and they were still able to do it.
Here's the question. If they don't come out and run the ball the way they did in the first couple of possessions that they had, the question that's what should be asked is, does Matt LaFleur stick with the run?
Stick with it.
But when you've had the success that you've had early on in that game with big chunks, even an idiot could figure it out. Okay, we're going to keep running the ball.
And he kind of got tested there in the second half, right? As far as Indy definitely adjusted, and they started getting way behind the sticks. There were 3 possessions in a row. They started 2nd and 11, 2nd and 15. That's not where you want to live with Malik Willis. But to Matt's eternal credit, he had a game plan and he was like, this is what we're doing. And we're sticking with this. He didn't panic. He stuck with it and they won the game. And Czabe, before we go anywhere else, I have to say your tweet immediately after the game regarding what that game was in an ugly sweatshirt was absolutely one of the most spot on kind of.
Thank you, my
this
friend.
is what we
Thank
just
you,
watched.
sir.
This is what we just watched.
Right.
Just so you're aware,
Right.
This is what you just saw. That was so on point.
Thank you. Yes, LaFleur had him ready to play. They kept calm, like, all right, everyone calm down. We're not going to have Jordan Love. He had a great scheme in place. They came out on point. I think the Colts knew they were going to run, obviously, and they had schemes to stop it. They just got beat. That LaFleur had the team vibrating at a level that were getting beat at the point of attack at every matchup they had, and that's called good coaching ahead of time. But yeah, and so it really they should have beat them like 26-3.
Yeah,
they had a fumble at the goal line. The late touchdown didn't really matter.
Right.
Who cares? It was a thorough beatdown. But back to Butchie and the running. The only point I'm trying to make, Butchie, is that 32 carries by a single back is such a unicorn. It's unheard of in today's NFL. In fact, I can't research it on the fly right here. I don't know if there was any 30-plus carry games by a single back in the entire league last year.
I mean, the last time it happened for the Packers was when Ryan Grant was in town. That tells you how long ago it and how rare it is in the modern game.
Yeah, it was a throwback. Okay. I loved your tweet while we're complimenting each other's tweets. I loved your tweet on Tuesday or Monday after Bryce Young got benched, and you tweeted the stat line from the December game last year, Bryce Young's best game as a pro, and the line was, "Don't worry, Packer fans, Joe Barry can't hurt you anymore."
I mean, it's crazy that Bryce Young has been absolutely putrid against literally every other team except for the Packers, where not only his best game as a pro, that was his best game ever as a quarterback against Joe Barry and company. So thank God that's in the rearview mirror.
We're not supposed to focus on the past, right? As
correct
humans, keep her moving. That realization, as I looked, and people also graphed his games, and the outlier
is the Packers way up high. Yeah,
it should not have infuriated me anymore because it's water under the bridge.
Right,
but it did. It
did. It absolutely did, and that's the thing. And look, I mean, if there is ever a kind of great way to look at, look what we have now and look forward. Look at that game against Anthony Richardson. How many times did young, inexperienced quarterbacks have what looked like amazing breakout games versus the Packers while Joe Barry was in town? Whereas, he had a few plays, he ran a few times, etc. But for the most part, Hafley's defense had him completely bottled up, and that's a testament to Hafley. That doesn't just happen. The kid absolutely has a cannon and showed it off in week 1, and they were prepared. They were ready for it. And again, like that's the type of game where, this quarterback's he's made 6 starts in the NFL. He's really hasn't done much yet. Under Joe Barry, that's probably a big time breakout game for the kid. But with Hafley in town, the approach was sound and the guys executed at a high level.
Now we do have, I think, a pretty serious Quay Walker problem on our hands. Would you concur with that, or where do you stand at old number 7?
I get this. This and the Keyshawn Nixon angst is, prevalent across the internet. Is he Dit Butkus in his prime? Is he Ray Nitschke? No. I don't think any of these guys are. I think he's way being asked to do stuff and play a position that he is not suited for in the middle of this 4-3 defense. I think if you moved him to the will and let him just flow, see ball, get ball, stop thinking about it, I think he'd look entirely different. Now, that said, he is being asked to play in the middle, and he's not playing well. He has to play better. There is zero doubt. The problem, of course, is you don't really have a traditional Mike on this roster. They did a great job overhauling the safety room, but at inside backer, they're kind of patching this thing together. You're not putting McDuffie at the mic. You're definitely not putting Cooper at the mic. You just don't have one. So they're using their guy who's been in the building for a while and is the most kind of NFL battle tested to be their mic. But if you were like drawing up the prototype, Quay is far from it. So also I kind of have some grace.
The star middle linebacker is going away as a thing in the NFL. We're not in the days of Urlacher and Ray Lewis, been de-emphasized, but you still need one that's kind of credible.
Mm.
The nerds, Butchie, are rating Quay Walker, the
Not
Pro
good.
Football Focus nerds, damn near the bottom of all
Yeah.
qualifying linebackers in the league.
Yeah, but
So
I'll just say this
not
into
good.
I'm going to want to say this into a microphone so everyone can hear it. The Pro Football Focus grades are not worth the pixels they're printed with. Okay, PFF does some amazing work. They do incredible work collecting data for, like, say, number of explosive plays or whatever, like things that you can quantify by looking.
So
at
you're
tape.
saying the
They
data
got
is
that on
good from
lockdown.
PFF. The data is good.
Data's great.
The grades
The
are
grades are
shite.
garbage. Don't
Okay.
pay, if anyone talks PFF grades, you can set them to ignore.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know if this is a PFF grade or another metric on the Keyshawn Nixon front.
Mhm.
Apparently, he's being targeted a lot.
He is.
Opponents
Big time.
are saying, okay, here's a guy who's kind of a special teamer more than a real starting cornerback. So let's go at him.
Mhm.
Fair or not fair?
Yeah, I think, and that's to be expected, right? And I think the Packers expected that. You know, when they signed him to the deal they did, they want him to be their nickel guy, their slot guy, as it were. And look, and Andy Herman and I talked about this earlier this week on She Said TV. It is real early. You know, we haven't even scratched the surface of how they're going to evolve as a defense. Kind of the same way we saw on offense last year, where lots of mistakes, guys out of position, etc. Now you build and you develop and you grow throughout the season. I suspect as the season goes on, we'll see a bit of a, mixing and matching, probably Bullard in the slot a little bit more, maybe mix in Evan Williams a bit. I think we're going to see that as the season goes on. I understand everybody's like, oh, Keyshawn's getting targeted all the time. And yes, they're completing things on him. But look, they're playing winning football. They just gave up 10 points and they're getting off the field on third down. I understand it's frustrating in the moment, but if you can pull back and you look at the totality of it, I have no problem with Keyshawn Nixon. None whatsoever. Is he a great slot corner? No. It is one of the toughest gigs in football. When you're sitting there in the middle, you don't have the sideline as help. And these guys who are freak athletes have two-way goes on you. Yeah, they're going to throw at you. They're not going to throw at Jair. Of course they're going to throw at
Got to guard the whip-whap guys on the choice routes, Butchie.
Exactly.
Yeah, all day. Okay, so that being
Whip-whap
said,
guys.
there's not many whip-whap guys for Tennessee. There's Calvin Ridley. And
No, there are not. They got
so
some big
that
guys,
being
big
said,
dudes. Yeah.
right, we talked about, okay, this, what happens, you get 1 week, now all of a sudden you win. Does that buy an extra week to play Malik Willis and sit Jordan Love if he's not 100%? Because to me, the answer is yes. I don't need to see Jordan Love against Tennessee. Against Minnesota,
I'm with you.
sure.
I'm with you.
But I don't. You won the game. Put Malik Willis out there one more time. Make sure Jordan is good to go, so that this isn't something that's lingering. Am I crazy for wanting that?
No, not at all. I totally understand that. And look, what were people talking about this summer when they were gnashing their teeth about the backup quarterback spot? If something happened to Jordan Love, we have it now. Something happened, right? But what were people saying? You got to be able to stay afloat. You have to be able to win a couple of games with somebody. Well, they won a game with Malik Willis. That does buy them a bit of time in my mind. There's no doubt they will probably play the semantics game all week. I think we'll see Jordan at practice at some point this week, trying to stoke the, will he or won't he play? I don't suspect he plays. I don't think he's ready until the Rams game, actually. I mean, maybe the Vikings, but I think Malik Willis' revenge game is on order here, and I think it's smart. And to your point, as a fan, I have no need to see Jordan Love go out there on a knee that is coming back from a pretty significant injury.
Maybe.
I would much rather him take his time, come back when he's right as rain. And I love this approach on offense. Let's keep going and maybe sprinkle in a shot play or two more. But other than that, I'm loving old school throwback football. I'm down for it.
All right. Even though Kenny, the Slick Watts fan, thinks that you and I should get a hot tub together and start complimenting each other's tweets more. One last moment of unity for you and I, Nags, and that is these referees.
Oh my God, Czabe!
Oh my!
Let me tell you,
Buddy,
when the Civil War comes to 97.3 the game in Milwaukee, and you have to take on Heller and you have to take on Armin Sarian, sir, we ride at dawn. I am with you.
Right. That's right. We ride at dawn.
I ride with Czabe.
Yeah.
Lord.
These rules, I went through the rules against touchdown celebrations, and they're so vague and full of loopholes.
Yeah.
They're absurd. They say spinning the ball in the air may be considered a taunting penalty. I'm like, maybe? What do you mean spinning it in the air? Can you define that? Now, do I think that Drake London did shoot an imaginary finger machine gun in the air? Yes. Did they have real
Sir, that was
gun?
clearly
That was
clearly doing the, what do you call it, the sprinkler.
T-shirt
doing the sprinkler.
Did you hear what this? Did you hear what
Morris?
Did you hear what he said in his press conference?
No, God.
Yeah, he said he was shooting a T-shirt cannon.
T-shirt cannon. He legit goes, "Oh, it wasn't a real gun. It was a T-shirt
amazing.
cannon."
That's incredible. God bless.
What I find amazing, Nags, is that guys who I love, like Armin and Mike, they don't understand the concept of there are rules that don't get enforced, but they are rules just in case. Just like there are laws that also don't really get enforced, but they're laws for a reason, like for jaywalking.
Yeah.
Or once upon a time spitting on the sidewalk, because I guess that was a problem back in the day.
Major issue.
Not every law or rule has to be enforced fully to the letter. Why this is a foreign concept to them blows my mind.
What just blows my mind is the idea that these refs, and I'm not attacking the officials. The officials are doing the best they can.
They're
But
trying
the
not to
NFL has lawyered up the rule book to such an extent about things that have nothing to do with the game of football. So these guys are constantly, you can see it. Watch the replays of these games where they throw these flags. The one where the helmet comes off, that dude is like looking so hard. The helmet, and all he throws is flag. Like that's what they're worried about instead of what is happening with the game. And then they get down to these crunch situations at the end of these games and they completely botch the calls. You know why? Because A, they're part-timers doing a $1 billion gig, and B, their heads are so full of nonsense that the league has told them to look for. It is
they're trying to administer
overload.
a safety. They're trying to administer a safety state on top of a very complicated rule book, and that's almost
absolutely
impossible.
The worst. It is the worst. I don't tune in to watch Hockey Lee or Torbert or any of these other morons get out there and talk about
this guy clearly made a gun gesture with his hands after the touchdown.
Man, can we just go back to the fun bunch? Dudes like getting in a circle and high-fiving. Let's have some fun out there. Let them have their fun.
Sean Hockley is the worst. He is on my list, and I really liked his dad back when he refereed.
I was just going to say, like, we're at the age of Nepo baby referees. What are we doing out here? My goodness.
I know.